versus Yoga.
In Man vs. Yoga, Episode 5, Jim besits the Welcome Gnome's curse and performs his interview with the lovely Hannah the Aerialist. Bitte willkommen, Jim Ward.
Yes, you have landed on Man vs. Yoga, Season 3, Episode 5. My name is Jim Ward, and we come to you from the beautiful Austin, Texas. Oh my God! I just harmed the Welcome Gnome. I know the magic gnome from your village. That was unintentional, ladies and gentlemen. I'm gonna run with it. So my name is Jim Ward, and this is Gunter, who's very sad that I just broke his village's welcome gnome, his lucky welcome gnome. And this is BuddySattva, who I'm going to blame it on. I think BuddySattva is the one that did it.
Buddy.
I'm sorry. See, we love gnomes. We hate elves and squirrels, except for Gunter. He loves squirrels. I'm just going to get that in there. But, and also I wanted to shine. I don't want to touch it, though. I'll break it. The Alice Seitzer Best Human Being in the Planet trophy.
You should have broken that one.
I know. I'm so sorry. I'm sorry to all gnomes. I know. I won't even look at it. So first off, Gunter, how have you been? Bliss.
I am Bliss, Jim.
Yeah,
I was until this happened in the middle. Don't worry, everything went over.
I mean, after everything, I know, like, you had to use the cattle prod, which comes up later.
That was not supposed to be part of the show, I hope.
No, that was just gravity always wins. One of life's truisms. Gravity always wins.
Yes.
Always hit on 16, and gravity always wins. So, on a positive note, first off, Willie, Bliss, I heard you beat the corruption rap. Bliss, bliss, bliss. And it was Sarah. Thank you so much, and we will right now. Our website is manversusyoga.com. Bliss. We are on Facebook, or Instagram, I think, is our main one. The problem with social media is we're trying to push people to YouTube, and none of the other social media formats want you to use YouTube. Mm. So if you do subscribe to our YouTube page, you win a wish. You win a wish. So I have 8 confirmed subscribers who wished upon their subscription, and it came true. So I would jump on that if I were you, most definitely. Gunter, this contest that you've been in,
Yes.
Mr. Universe. Now there's a bodybuilding Mr. Universe contest, and then there's this other Mr. Universe contest, the one that you compete in, and the better one probably, right?
It is. It's much more challenging than the other.
What is your fitness regimen? English.
Pardon. 2 things mainly is one is I like to chase live chickens like Rocky Balboa.
Sure. No, that makes sense. What do you do when you catch them?
This is a G-rated show.
Yeah,
Don't want to upset
I'm like, oh.
a large segment of our audience. But and the other is Kegels, the Kegel competition.
The what?
Kegels.
Kegels.
Yes.
I
am Kegeling right now.
Oh, wow. Yeah, I don't, if it's what I think it is, I see both his hands. So, it's not that. Wow, I don't know if I want to really know a whole lot more. Although I did hurt the gnome. I still feel badly about that. Which, this should be our duplicity of yoga.
The duplicity
of Yoga.
In this episode's Duplicity, gosh, the ghost haunts me. But bliss,
I hope so.
just the same. I know, I deserve it. In this episode's Duplicity of Yoga, I was, last weekend, I was seeing a concert, a 3-night run of String Cheese Incident here in Austin. It was awesome. It was amazing. So I'm going to my area where I go, the VIP area, and as I'm going up, I'm literally grabbed by this girl. It's a really pretty girl, but I'm grabbed, and she's like, "I do yoga with you at Alice's," and I'm like, you know, I probably had accidentally eaten maybe a mushroom or two. I don't know. I did. So I just had this girl grabbing me as I'm trying to go up to the VIP area, right? Screaming, you know. But she was very pretty. She wasn't screaming at me. So then she like totally objectifies me, holds me out like a trophy for her friend. She's like, "Look, I practiced yoga with him at Alice's." And her friend is like, "Oh." And so the girl, I've never seen her, right? But that segues into yoga girls. I don't recognize any of you ever outside of a studio. I'm sure you're all very cute and nice, but I really don't. So with this girl, I'm just like, I'm gonna run with it. So she said her name, which I didn't know, which I immediately said, "Well, I know. That's what I said right, in the beginning." And she bit, and she was like, "I know." I'm like, sweet. I know someone's name and they don't. So then, this is rich. So then she said, in front of her friend, she's like, "Yeah, it's Don or Mike." and I was actually appalled.
Yes, your name is everywhere here. That is true.
Well, I mean, and also, Don or Mike. I mean, how about like, Gerardo or something? I don't know.
Or Gunter.
Gustavio. Yeah, or Gunter.
Yes.
But
Don.
Don or Mike. And so that's the way she said it. Don or Mike. So she gave herself wiggle room. So anyway, I was really not upset, and I was just playing with her. So if you do see this, I hopefully will have seen you in the interim to apologize, because I think I sold it a little. I was just giving you a hard time. But anyway, so I'm up dancing in the second set, and all of a sudden I look over, and there this girl is, and she comes up and she's like, "What's your name?" She's like, "Yeah, you were kind of mean to me, when I asked." And I'm just like, I mean, you don't know? I'm like, "Don or Mike?" I'm like, "Yeah, my name's Don or Mike." So she finally asked, so she was there. So I wasn't afraid from a stalkery standpoint, because she volunteered her name. She knew me from Alice's house, which means, if I wound up dead or something, they would catch her. And she was there with Natalie, the girl from the first yoga class ever who was next to me, who pat herself on the back. So I figured, I'm not fearful as much as confused. Since then, I've tried to figure out who this girl was. Unsuccessfully. She told me her name, but I'm not sure I remembered the right name. Anyway, long story short, I can't even go to see, music without pretty girls grabbing me and hugging me and pushing me around, showing me off like I'm just a piece of meat. And I I'm not going to say I don't appreciate it. I mean, Lord knows I love being objectified, but it's just odd because I still don't know this girl's name. Hopefully by the time this airs, I will, and this will all be anecdotal. But until then, thus is the duplicity of yoga.
Duplicity of Yoga.
So we have been waiting. I personally am so excited for this interview, and you'll love it too because I have amazing taste. It's another aerialist, Hannah Banana, who has an amazing YouTube page, by the way, which we need tips on, Hannah. But she also has been studying pole dancing for the last year, probably longer. She's really good. And I had never been on a pole, or what, like, out of all the aerial apparatus. I digress real quick. How cool was it that Whitney said that they still make poles in the fire stations? I thought that was cool, and I almost asked her, so does that make you a pole dancer? But I'm like, don't ask Whitney that. I'm like, next episode I can ask that. But anyway, I've never been on a pole, and it looks incredibly hard. So we learn all about it from Hannah. Enjoy. Hi, welcome to this edition of the Man vs. Yoga Existential Interview Series. I'm so thrilled that we got our gal. I have with us Hannah, who we'll call Hannah the aerialist. That work?
Sounds great.
All right. So Hannah and I know one another because we both started doing aerial roughly around the same time, and she is fantastic. Has the most amazing YouTube channel, which I have to admit. So I've nicked a few of your like moves off of that channel, and actually the one time I ever fell was doing one.
Oh, no, what do you want to say?
Yeah, no, I was gonna actually write that to you when it happened. Like I fell out of this, but also the thing I'm dying to talk with her about too is she has taken aerial a step further, and now she is an expert pole dancer, and it's been so much fun to watch her progression from just like anybody's. So first up, Hannah, how long have you been doing? When did you start aerial? Like, what was the impetus and all that fun stuff?
Okay, so my impetus to do aerial yoga. So I went through a pretty depressive state when I came out of grad school, and I was trying to find something to kind of give me a sense of identity again. And, I looked into yoga, but it wasn't exactly giving me the energy to step into the studio. And then I come across this thing called aerial yoga. And I thought, okay, well, that looks like really weird. Let's give it a try. And then I went in and I absolutely fell in love with it. I finally found that thing they talk about called mind-body connection. And yeah, been doing aerial yoga since.
How long ago was that?
Oh gosh, it was a couple of years. I think I'm like maybe 2 years. I don't know. This past year just seemed like it didn't really exist. So
it didn't actually. I mean, it's like ether. Everything that happened, except the bad things I did, those somehow stuck with me. But that aside, yeah, no, I thought you've been doing like 3 years or so.
Okay, if you say 3, it's probably 3.
But you know what? I lose track of them too.
No, we didn't really start about the same time. So if you say it's 3, I'm sure it's 3.
Yeah, no, like it roughly is. And Hannah's the only person who's progressed as quickly as I have. And so first off, a couple of these things I had asked her about beforehand, and one of them was just to ask first off another aerialist like all these questions. But I was curious if she knew about the dancer's belt and what
well, I did not know about the dancer belt until I listened to your podcast.
and that blew me away. That like there are so many aerialists that don't realize that the guy next to them, or the one guy at the far end of the studio, you know, is wearing a thong. So he, you know, the girded loins.
And there's only one other person who consistently comes to class, and he's a male. And yet I've never heard of this.
Well, I mean, we don't brag about it normally, unless you're just like an idiot, like forced to come clean about everything aerial. But I mean, that's a big deal. That and I had to get like, so for when a guy starts yoga, he doesn't have to buy anything new. When a girl starts yoga, she has to buy a whole new wardrobe. When a guy starts aerial, he has to buy a whole new wardrobe. And when a girl starts aerial, she just wears her yoga stuff. So I had to buy ballet tights, and they're hard to find, believe it or not. So don't even know where I was going with that, other than I just wanted to qualify for everyone that I have to wear a thong for my art, which, and Hannah didn't even know about it. So I'm sorry. So as far as like studios and teachers and all that, have you had a chance to check out more than, you know, one or two, or has it been like?
So at least in the case of what I'm aware of, there's kind of a go-to for aerial yoga that I choose at least. There's a place called Flow Space, and it just feels so magical there. Like the space is incredible. But I've mostly gone there, but there's been a lot of different instructors that have come and gone through there. We're called Town. People are constantly shifting around. But so I've had the opportunity to experience a lot of different teacher styles. I think I've probably had about 5 different instructors in total.
That's cool. That's really cool. And each one, I'm assuming you like were able to take parts from. And
Yeah, absolutely. I know I've had like instructors that have been more focused on restorative, and I've had other instructors that were more like circus trick focused. So yeah, I've had a chance to pull in a lot of different things from a lot of different brains.
yeah, we were talking about this before, but starting aerial as a guy is hard as hell. But like I had to go to like 4 or 5 classes before anyone told me about a dancer belt, for example. But it's weird, like the teachers, I think they assume I'm gonna be a certain way, like this like meathead kind of guy. I don't know. But I've learned more from like open studio, you know what I mean? And like your fellow students and whatever teachers there. I don't know. It's just hard to find a good vibe. And so once the world changed, so you started practicing outside too, and or like inside and outside actually, right?
Yeah. So I can really relate on how kind of having your own practice can be a little more beneficial in a way. I think you have a chance to push yourself in a way you don't necessarily have when you're kind of going at the same pace of everyone else in the room. For example, like we have an advanced class currently at my studio, but they're about to do away with that due to lack of participation. And I don't really want to step back into the beginner class. So it's going to be a lot.
I think we need to start a protest, like save Hannah's advanced aerial class.
We should.
You know,
I'll just guilt trip the owner a little bit.
Well, it's weird because that is, I mean, finding people on the same level is so hard because like we would do classes of 6 people and I would always learn things like the first time and it's there, and then you have to wait for everyone else, and that's fine. You just go back and do other stuff, you know. But yeah, that's I whenever I realized, well, first off, how funny was it when they told us like at the beginning, like, oh, don't ever set up your own rig on your own, or else you're gonna just die 1,000 deaths, you know. All you have to do.
In my studio, but okay. That wasn't my studio, but okay.
Oh yeah, like, well, put it this way, I'd never realized how easy it was to set up in my own house, and until the world changed, and yeah, and then I went back in the studio a few times, and it was just weird. It was just eerie. But all that said, so I kind of want to segue into so pole dancing. So I've done every aerial apparatus but the pole, because I mean, even with all my bravado, I mean, good Lord, look at what I'm wearing. And by the way, she is Harley Quinn, and I am obviously Othello, and it's Halloween weekend, so that's why we're dressed like this.
They were awesome.
Exactly. So even with the idiot who would wear this, I still was too intimidated to try the pole. So, like, how was it your first time, and how's it been? I mean, looks
Okay.
fun.
The pole community is some of the most welcoming people I've ever encountered in my entire life. Like, I've never felt such positive vibes as my first pole class. Like, everyone is so happy to be there. Everyone's so happy for you to be there. It's very body positive. So, like, they just encourage everyone to be there.
So how many types of pole dancing are there?
Okay, so I feel like a lot of times when people hear pole dancing, they instantly go to stripping, which is, that's great too. However, there's so many different types of pole dancing. You have dramatic, I guess kind of an example is for the pole sport organization competition, which is a big competition for pole dancing. They have like a dramatic section, artistic. They do have exotic. Even within exotic, there's various types of exotic dance. So there's so much.
Hold on. So what are the various types of exotics?
So I really like Russian exotic. It's very athletic and sensual, and I just think it's beautiful, and I love to watch it.
What's separate? Like what's different about the Roshio version?
How to describe it? A lot of the times it's done on static pole. I am like hardly the exotic dance expert yet. But yeah, it's like done on exotic pole, sensual music.
That's the thing. The music choices are like perfect. I mean, but probably hard to find, I would think, to sync up like with what you're wanting to do.
I mean, I guess it depends. Like I said, there's so many different types of pole dancing. So I feel like you can take pretty much, any song with a decent beat, be it fast or slow, and find a way to make a beautiful dance out of it with pole.
Yeah, no, I guess again, it's just my ignorance. I've never even like never even like played on one. So yeah, I have no idea. But yeah, I guess it's
Give it a try.
Oh, I'm going to. I promise you. I give you my word. Next time I get the chance to I'm around, even a pole like outside or whatnot. I'm gonna. I think I can I think I can hold myself like at a right angle. Right?
That's
Yeah.
amazing. Now, I've seen like people do that, but I am nowhere near that. So.
Well, yeah. I mean, but you do the pretty stuff. The guys, it's not me doing a right angle. So first off, she makes these amazing videos and awesome instructional videos for aerial for pole dancing, and they're all on your YouTube channel. Is that right?
Yeah, I don't do pole instruction. I'm more of a baby poler. I'm just kind of getting started in that realm, but I love dancing to it. But yeah, there's plenty of instructional videos on different poses for aerial. And I'm moving into a new house that's going to have a little aerial studio in it. So I have a lot of big plans for doing some pool practices once I get moved in.
That's awesome. That is cool. And so what is the YouTube channel?
My YouTube channel, you should be able to type in youtube.com/Ariel, Ariel with Hannah Banana.
So Ariel with Hannah Banana.
Yep.
All right. Okay. And also, while I'm thinking about it, this interview is brought to you by Evian Water. When you're thirsty, don't be naive. Have an Evian. Exactly. Evian. Good people. All right. So these are awkward questions that I'm asking Hannah about pole. At least they're awkward for me. So what is the relationship with strip clubs or gentlemen's clubs, establishments of aerobing? I don't know what to call whatever will upset the least number of you. Call it that. How is the pole associated with that?
Okay, so a lot of times when you have new pole dancers, you'll often hear like, oh, like it's not just stripping, and they'll talk about some ancient Indian art it supposedly came from or something like that. But pole dancing as we know it today comes from strippers, and I love it. Like, yeah, nothing wrong with that. Like, thank you, queens, for giving us this art.
Yeah, well, okay, so then, but not every strip club has pole dancing, right?
Everyone I've been to has, but that doesn't mean that there's not.
Okay, and that's where I have to come clean. I have not been to a strip club in decades because they make me sad. Because inevitably you end up sitting there like listening to this like 19-year-old runaways like country music song of a story, and I just get depressed. And so there's some new people with work with we were out at a dinner once a year or two ago. A couple of them are like, yeah, y'all want to go to a strip club? The rest of us are like, no, I thought they were a big guy. But yeah, so I'm ignorant as far as that goes. So you performed on a pole in a strip club, right?
No, I have not actually. The only performance I've done was in my pole studio, and I am looking forward to doing some competitions. First one's April 22nd in DC.
Where's the video then that with your friends and where there's people?
Oh yeah, so that was at my pole studio had a what's it called? Showcase.
Yeah,
showcase where we got to dance. But the energy there was amazing. But yeah,
that's an awesome video. That's an awesome video.
That was so fun. Like, everyone really got into it. So I loved it.
Your friend,
I see nothing wrong with stripping, and I have to like comment on your story because it kind of makes me laugh because it makes me think so much of my husband and I when we go to strip clubs. So my husband, like, I love going anywhere that there's pole dancing. I don't care if someone's taking their clothes off or not. But my husband always gets uncomfortable for similar reasons that you just said. So that kind of resonated with me. But like, I think we live in such a puritanical society sometimes, and we want to think there's no way a woman would want to take her clothes off for money. But like, there's women who they enjoy it. Like, I mean, I don't know that I could deal with lap dances, but I know I love the feeling of like being able to dance. And if someone's comfortable with taking their clothes off for it for money, like, power to it. Like, I wouldn't feel guilty about it if you enjoy it, But if you don't enjoy it, that's okay too.
So I mean, I know 3 girls that have started since the world changed, that have started that their OnlyFans page, that they're now doing porn. Basic, well, yeah, I don't know why I'm dancing around that. Yeah, no, it's like some of it's more hardcore than others. One of them's on Pornhub. Like you can, she auto-populates. I'm like, good Lord, Alicia. Wild with a Y. Friend of mine. But I'm helping her out. I'm giving her some shade on Pornhub. But don't know how I got off on that bent. But so the videos you put out are of a extremely sensual nature. How has that been on social media?
Okay, so that's a big question.
Thank you. I usually have one good question per show. So.
Oh, heck yeah. No, that's a good one. Okay, so as far as social media goes, it's been a mixed bag. I'm from a really small town. After I started posting full videos, my poor mother got so many calls about, is Hannah okay? Like,
yeah. Oh my gosh, I didn't think about that.
And I had, I don't know if she'll be watching this interview, but I'll go ahead and call out an aunt who called my sister and said, like, is your sister okay? Like, I saw that video she posted, and my sister said, if there's one thing I can tell you about Hannah, it's that she doesn't care that you care that she's posting videos online.
Awesome.
So as far as that goes, it's been a fun ride. On the other side of that, I've been able to connect with the community, and I found a way to express sensuality in a way that's always been really difficult for me. As I said, I was in a small town, grew up around a lot of slut shaming and that kind of thing, and I've always had really a lot of issues with how I saw myself. For me, like, feeling sexual felt gross for the longest time, and in finding a way that I can express myself in a sensual way through pole dancing, I think it's a really healthy way to kind of battle through those challenges. And I mean, it's nice to feel sexy and not feel guilty about it. So I strongly, I think it's such a body image healer, and I strongly encourage all women or men to give it a try.
Wow, that was amazing. So you understand now why we had to cut this into 2 interviews or 2 shows, because it's riveting and it's poignant. The part about slut shaming, girl, don't I know it? I get slut shamed all the time. I don't appreciate it. I don't like it, and I would like for people to stop slut shaming me. You know why? It doesn't work. You can't shame someone who doesn't care, right? Mm-hmm. But I do feel for Hannah, having to deal with that on social media as well. Most people don't have the thick skin I do. So the second half of the interview will be coming up in the next show. We would also like to thank the winner of, I will touch this barely, since the last podcast, Alice Seitzer has adopted a village in Haiti near the Dominican border and taught 253 children to read in 3 languages. Meanwhile, in that same time, Gunter and I were playing a prank on a friend. Gunter started a blazing inferno.
With my cattle prod.
Well, I was going to say, the mosquito and the cattle prod thing? It finally blew up in our face. So we started a fire. Whitney had to come put it out, and Kate Fuego came and danced with it. Meanwhile, Alice has gone to earthquake-ridden Haiti,
Yes.
Is earthquake, right, or hurricane?
Both, actually.
Yes. It's a bad location. But she's gone there and is living in this village on her own and teaching them to read while we're being delinquents. And I like it. You know why? Because we are delinquents.
Yes, and I think the menagerie of future interviewees will, adorn us in whatever troubles we make in the future.
Bliss,
Yes.
one can only hope.
Yes.
One can only hope.
And don't forget, I need to add that the holidays are coming up now, and you can get your special locket.
Yeah. Sarah is, so our social media, don't forget, manversusyoga.com, on Facebook, Instagram.
If you don't know it, just Google it at this point. It's not hard to spell.
No,
It's on the bottom of the screen too.
exactly.
Foolproof.
Exactly. And just Google that with Don or Mike. It's just Man versus Yoga with Don or Mike.
Yes.
That'll come up. But and until next time, we will bring you the second half of this interview. This goes out for one person in particular who can really understand this. Sometimes things don't fit, and even the purest of romantics compromise. Later.